Is this the end? It might be. And maybe the fact that we are even discussing these particular names, maybe it's just bait. Maybe this is a situation where these writers and these analysts are looking at very particular names that can get the most clicks possible, and maybe they're just going out there and pulling my strings like a puppet. But I think there is a reasonable enough conversation to have about these two players in particular, because in this video I wanted to split it down the middle and talk about two names that have been linked in the conversation of buyouts. We have one guy that I think has been a lot more commonly discussed in the buyout talks from various NHL writers and analysts, and another guy who isn't really as much of a mainstream buyout candidate, who I think makes for a very, very good headline. In fact, let's start out with the more common of the two names, because on TVA Sports' recent buyout candidates list, published by Vincent Duquette yesterday, one of the main names that is discussed is the same guy that has been discussed by Frank Saravalli and a bunch of other folks in the Red Wings fanbase. Take a look at the conversation posted about Justin Holl. This, of course, is not surprising to anybody, but bear with me here. The famous Yzer plan, implemented by GM Stevie Y since his arrival with the Detroit Red Wings, has still not materialized. Several decisions made by the former star of the city's auto club are questionable, such as the 3-year contract signed on July 1st, 2023, with Justin Holl, a defenseman with obvious shortcomings that the Maple Leafs no longer wanted. Now is Yzerman's chance to right that wrong that costs more than $10 million and buy out the 33-year-old defenseman's contract. Now, that doesn't really give us too much, to be honest, but if you head over to Justin Holl and his profile, he is making a whopping $3.4 million a year till the end of next season. It's one season left, mind you, right? If the Red Wings felt comfortable with just chugging along and getting one more year of this guy under their belt, it's not going to be too long, just a year. But if you were to buy out Holl and his $3.4 million AAV contract, you will be on the books until 2026-2027, making $1.133 against the cap. So $2.6 million in savings this upcoming season, a $1.13 million in a cap penalty in 2026-2027. Justin Holl has just been bad, and I don't think anybody is going to go out there and defend him too highly at this point. He's had this reputation for so long. In Toronto, he was always kind of a scapegoat, even though he was decently productive, all things considered. Multiple 20-plus point years in Toronto, in very limited numbers of games. But in Detroit, he only had 8 points in this most recent season. He played almost the full year. And, of course, decision-making, the pace of play that he has. Justin Holl is not a great player. Great guy, I've heard. Apparently he's a really likable dude and a good person in the room. It's just, Holl's not a great player. And it's why I think a lot of folks are going to immediately assume, yeah, open up some space on the right side, get a younger dude in there. Maybe it's Axel Sandin-Pellikka's spot to lose, who really knows. But if Stevie Y's goal is to get a little bit more cap flexibility, then buying out Justin Holl is not the worst way to go. And if you wanted to say that the Red Wings could be trying to fix their mistakes early, because we know that they've made a bunch of mistakes over the past few years, not necessarily mistakes, damning mistakes, but moves that don't necessarily push them forward in any way. And it's the lack of doing things that actually help them that can be classified as a mistake. Did the Wings need to give Justin Holl that money in term? No. Did they need to go out there and sign all these middle-aged, second half of their career kind of guys? No. And now the Red Wings are in this weird purgatory where they can't even break into the playoffs, and we've had this entire song and dance before. It's nothing new. Justin Holl, buyout candidate, yay or nay? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, I wanted to go out there and talk about yet another buyout candidate listed on this TVA Sports article. It is the one in the title, the one headlining this article, Jesperi Kotkaniemi of the Carolina Hurricanes. The Canes have a great opportunity to right a wrong that they made in March 2021. A few months after luring Kotkaniemi away from the Canadiens via an offer sheet, the Hurricanes signed the Finn to an 8-year, nearly $5 million a year contract extension. There was hope that the young center would continue his progression and establish himself as a top 6 player. 4 years later, those hopes have never materialized. The Hurricanes now have the chance to get out of that hefty contract without breaking the bank. Since KK is still under 25, Carolina will only have to pay a third of his contract, rather than 2/3, if they decided to pursue a buyout. That means the impact on the payroll will be less than $1 million for the next 8 years. Now, the Kotkaniemi buyout situation is a lot more intricate than Justin Holl's because Holl has 1 year left, Kotkaniemi has 4. He's signed on till the end of 2030, and if he were to get bought out, he would only be making $850,000 against the Carolina Hurricanes cap. That is a very reasonable savings of about $4 million every year until 2030. But starting 2031 up until 2034, the Canes would be on the books for $850,000 more. That's a really reasonable price, honestly. And when you think about the fact that Kotkaniemi is going to be 25 on July 6th, like he is just a month away from turning 25, which really puts Carolina in a tough spot, because if they wanted to get out of this contract now, this is the time to do it. You can't wait an extra few days in July, let him turn 25, and then buy him out, because then you'll have to pay him double the amount of money that you would have been able to. Instead of 1/3 of his remaining salary, you'd have to pay him 2/3. From $800 and something thousand to about, 1.7 million? Pretty reasonable savings if you were to buy him out right away. And if the Carolina Hurricanes believe in all the cap shenanigan stuff that Chris Johnston is going out there and saying, if the cap's going to be like 113 plus million bucks, then you don't care about an $850,000 charge every year until 2034. That's like cheap pickings for you. Kotkaniemi still gets some money, Kotkaniemi still gets the ability to sign elsewhere, although we have already discussed this on the channel before, that Kotkaniemi's play has been so subpar and so disappointing compared to his 3rd overall label that maybe it's not even going to be easy for him to get an NHL job sometime soon. There's always going to be that top-tier label. This guy was supposed to be the next Barkov. This guy had all the expectations in the world, and he had a great rookie season at 18 years old, but then he totally hit a wall and was never able to get better. I mean, this season, Kotkaniemi had, 33 points in 78 games? It's not even that bad, honestly. It's just, for the money, it's too little. And considering the circumstances how this guy was supposed to age into the contract and become more of a top 6 caliber guy, if he could get 60 points a year while being a penalty-killing center, then you're very happy with that. That would be a success story. If Kotkaniemi can provide the Hurricanes' top 6 caliber center value. But he's not. And we saw that towards the end of the playoffs, where he started getting less minutes and he wasn't played much and he didn't get points. And so this guy, I mean, say what you want about whether or not he's good enough to play in the league still. He probably is, but he might have just played himself out of a job in Carolina. If the Canes feel like their direction is elsewhere from Kotkaniemi, they need somebody else in their bottom 6, they need more presence, more speed, more pace, more reliability, then I could understand if they decided to buy out the guy. It'd be really cheap to do so after all. It's just, 2034 is a long time. That is 9 years from now after all. But the cap hit is not that significant. $850K, I think, is reasonable enough. So with all that in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. How do you feel about the idea of a Jesperi Kotkaniemi buyout? How do you feel about the idea of a Justin Holl buyout? There are a number of other names that are listed on this article as buyout candidates, from Matt Dumba to Tristan Jarry, Andre Palat, Pierre Engvall, Connor Sheary, a bunch of others, but I wanted to focus on the Red Wings and, of course, the former Canadian, because that tickles my fancy the most out of anybody else here. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about these buyout updates and whether or not you think it's actually possible? Will it happen? Will it not? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.